Welcome everyone, and this is again courtesy of Eco Africa Digital, the second webinar that they so kindly offered to share with us. And I think this is a very pertinent one regarding all of these voucher campaigns and lessons learned, because I think a few months back we saw a lot of that happening in the marketplace. And Fairtrade still amped up to also do the Fairtrade Paid Forward one that we've been conceptualizing, and that Eco Africa Digital has also been very helpful to us with. So yes, looking forward to this very much, Lizanne.
Thanks very much, Anna, and welcome everyone. Hello everybody I see coming on board as we speak. So it's a lovely Wednesday afternoon. Great to be with you all again. So on the one hand, we're excited to be with you, but also we are trying to sell vouchers, and that means it's not going great in the tourism industry. It's tough. It's a tough time. Vouchers definitely is the last resort of available options that anybody wants to take. We would all prefer for the industry just to open up. At least, business, at least local leisure, not even to talk about international travel. So we just want to acknowledge that it's not a great time. It's a difficult time. But I think getting together and chatting about selling vouchers is kind of the only thing we can do right now. And what we found is that we had a very successful voucher campaign recently. And that's why we feel confident to share it with you, at least as an option or something to consider. And why we're here today is to share our best practice, the things we did, why we think it worked, and also to compare why we think other voucher campaigns of ours didn't work as well as this one. So today is really very much about standing with you guys during this difficult time, just thinking about if you're considering doing something for yourself or considering joining the Fairtrade voucher campaign, what we would say and what we would recommend, how to go about it. Obviously, some things are obvious, some aren't, but we'll share as much as we possibly can to guide you through the process. I'm going to start sharing my screen now. We'll use a PowerPoint presentation, and I'll introduce you to the team now. We'll go through it about 30 to 40 minutes, just share the campaign and why it worked. And then obviously after that, we're going to open the floor. If you guys want to discuss your own voucher campaigns or thoughts around it, or any new ideas come up along the way, please either interrupt us if you want and just ask the question as it comes up. Or if you want to discuss it afterwards, maybe we can also use it as a sort of brainstorm to help everybody with their own ideas. Or if we want to do something together, maybe something comes out of this that could contribute to everybody's separate campaigns. How to create a post-lockdown sellout campaign using social media and lead generation. So we said post-lockdown because obviously when we launched this campaign, it was in lockdown and we were just a few weeks away from the leisure market opening up. So it was fantastic timing. We all know things closed down again, which was tricky, but we do expect things to open now, hopefully again in a month or a bit more. So I think we're in the same spot as we were when this whole campaign took place. So something to consider, I think would be relevant to everybody today, here today. To quickly just want to introduce our team. Amongst ourselves, we've got about 38 years of experience in either tourism or digital marketing. From the left, we have Jante Smith. He's with us today, one of our account managers. He was also the account manager for the specific client that we'll be walking you through today. And he'll share some of his insight and thought on that. He's a recent marketing graduate from Stellenbosch University. Next to him is Adrian Visser. She's our professional copywriter with a degree in journalism. Ashley Burdett, she's also here with us today. Sorry, that's my eco lights in the office. Ashley, also an account manager, also a Stellenbosch University graduate with an honors in marketing. Myself, Lizanne, I'm the founder of Eco Africa Digital. I'm very happy to serve you today and helping the tourism industry pull through. My background is in BA in knowledge management and a master's degree in ecotourism. And then Carla Kotze is our paid ads specialist. She is doing all of our Google ads, Facebook ads, retargeting, and funnels is stuff that she lives on. Just a quick overview as well. Our clients are based all over Africa, Southern Africa and Eastern Africa predominantly. In 2019, before the big international crisis, we've been able to sell more than 23,000 bed nights for our clients. And all of these bed nights came through the client's own website. So we very much specialize in driving traffic to your own website and helping guests to book through your own website. Obviously, there's no commission payable on any of these bookings. So enough about us. I'm going to just repeat the challenge that our client had. So this challenge, the client is based in Mpumalanga. It's a luxury country lodge, fantastic place on a big game farm, beautiful horse stud included there, very much Babylon Stern in Mpumalanga. But like everybody else, they weren't able to accommodate any guests. It was locked down. And so they opted for a voucher campaign. We came together with our team and we realized we had to create a compelling social media content. Luckily for them, they had a big social media following already. We were doing engagement and website traffic campaigns for them via social media for almost 10 months before. So there was already an engaged market. And we found that we could retarget that engaged social media market of theirs and also create lookalike audiences, people with similar behavior to their engaged following. And then we realized we could tap all of that engaged customers, people who already like them, and channel that into an email campaign and build up their database. The very important thing here is, even though bookings, you can't have bookings right now, it's a fantastic time in which to still build your database. Anybody that you can engage with your content and get to sign up on a campaign, even if it's only for a voucher campaign or only to receive info from you, you can retarget to them for years and months and years to come, even after lockdown. So if you can do anything during lockdown, it's build your database. So whatever you do, it's an important thing to keep in mind. So Jonta, I'm going to give over to you if you quickly want to take us through the voucher, the 7-point plan we came up with during our brainstorming, and the reason why we, as an overview, think this campaign worked for your client.
Yeah, thanks, Lizanne. So yeah, the 7-point plan, like Lizanne mentioned, is right after our second brainstorm. So as you mentioned, there was a first voucher campaign of 40% and 50%. 40%, which was a pay for 2, stay for 3 with a meal, and the 40% was a pay for 3, stay for 6. So after our brainstorm, we're like, okay, but we had to reevaluate this. What was, in essence, a better value offering? We said, okay, but if we provide great value, we also had to ensure that there's some sort of urgency within the guests. So let's make a limited amount of vouchers available, so you would feel somewhat of an exclusive association towards the establishment, because now I have one of the vouchers, with which there were only a limited number. Then timing was probably the most important thing for this campaign, but that also was only successful because we had the enticing copy, we had video content which just proves statistically that it provides better results, and then complementing the videos, we had to ensure that our user experience was firstly clear, that everyone that engaged with the content leading up to the voucher sales were informed, that on the day we were available. And then, as Lizanne mentioned, I think the pinpoint targeting largely contributed to the success. And then number 8 on the 7-point plan is just the results that we want to show you.
Yeah. So maybe not to spoil all the fun right at the start of the campaign, but I think it's useful to know that when we say something has been successful, specifically for this client, we sold 47 vouchers for them, which was over 500,000 Rand worth of income. And we think that is significant. It's a fantastic source of cash flow. It's going to keep them going and help them to pay their employees for quite a few months to come. So vouchers won't keep you going. It's not the only way that we can survive. We need the industry to open up and all of the things that everybody is fighting for. But that amount of vouchers and that amount of income is really worthwhile. And that is why we're bringing you this proposal today, or sharing what happened. I just want to go to the next one. So I think, Jonte, if you want to just take us through the value offering again, and why a proper value offering is so important.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, we did have the two offers at the start, and we ran them with Mother's Day was the launch of the 40% voucher, and then a few weeks later we released the 50%. And they weren't providing the results we expected, and we, in the brainstorm, we came together and said, but let's create a 70, a 75, and 80%, and what they would look like. So the 70% was a pay for one, stay for three, and it includes a meal, cooked with all resources from the farm. 75% was similar, pay for one, and then you get 4 nights, and the 80% pay for one, you get 5 nights. So the deal was very enticing. People, the engagement leading up to the campaign just showed that this was a great value. And I think we got the impression from other clients of ours that people didn't want add-on extras like a meal at a restaurant, or you get a picnic basket, or anything that is outsourced to some extent. Rather, everything needs to be in the package, be clear, and people just wanted the idea of escaping this lockdown that they find themselves in, to find another place to go to. And the longer stays also contributed to the success, I believe.
Yeah, and I think, John, also worth mentioning here is 70 and 80% discount sounds like, but is it even worthwhile having or selling anything at that rate? But important here, for this specific client, she only gets bookings on weekends anyway. They're 2.5 hours from Johannesburg, close to Leidenburg, and she's open during the week anyway. So we created these 70 and 80% offers. If you come for 4 or 5 or 6 nights, it all has to be weeknights. So from Sunday night up to Thursday night. So we filled up her low season for her. We filled it up all only weeknights. So it's a win either way. They wouldn't have been guests anyway. So if you're thinking about your own establishment, it might be something similar. You could do a voucher and offer only your low season for it. It might be weeknights. It might also be a certain time of year if you want to make 4 months of the year, your vouchers available only for that, even if it's next year during winter or something like that, just to consider.
Perfect. Thanks, Lizanne. I think you have hit a very important point on the timing of your vouchers. And this pulls into this segment here under making the vouchers limited. So whilst the discounts of 80% and 75% were impressive, the limited aspect of the campaign also drew customers in. So we didn't just have an open amount of vouchers. So we spoke with the client and we agreed upon a certain amount. In this case, what happened was we agreed upon 6 vouchers, but because the campaign had done so well and that the client had mentioned that her low season wasn't going to be filled, we managed to extend this offer. So more people were able to get the vouchers, but everybody knew that, hey, there's a limited amount, I better act quickly. And it sped up the consumer's decision-making process. So they could find out, and then on a specific day, the voucher booking links went live. So the customer was able to go onto the client's website and view the the offering there, but they weren't able to book until a specific date on a specific time, which we'll get into here. But yeah, as you can see from Joey's smile and then like face of shock there, that having the limited amount of words on the offer really changed people's perceptions and just really evoke this sense of, I have to do this now, otherwise I'm going to miss out. And it is important to create some sort of like FOMO element, fear of missing out. So that's exactly what we did there.
Yeah, I think Joe's expression also in a way symbolizes how we felt actually when we saw the amazing response. We were like, gee, we didn't expect this massive response, so that was great to see. Thanks. And the timing, Ash?
Yeah, so the timing was another important factor. You have to look at the type of people you're targeting. Are they working? So in Mount High's case, a lot of the people we target work. So Saturday is a nice day where most people are having their lazy day. They can be at home, there's no rush, and they can just be totally focused on purchasing the voucher. If it was done on like a Wednesday or a Tuesday, the voucher would be at the back of people's minds, but since it was on a Saturday, it was right at the forefront.
Okay.
And then specifically with what we found was really successful or made this campaign a success was leveraging on a specific date. So we used Father's Day that happened in June, and yeah, normally you give your dad's socks or chocolate or a few cases of beer, but now you could actually give him a proper holiday retreat. And what we found is that people just sort of focused on finding Father's Day sort of events and stuff, found this, and then thought a little bit longer term, like, hey, this could also be good for me. Like, I may not have a dad, but hey, this place looks amazing. So I think it's important to really leverage your communications around specific dates. They're normally really good.
But also, actually, it's interesting, like this Father's Day campaign worked wonders, while the Mother's Day campaign just a few weeks earlier didn't work that well. So everything has got to work together. Leverage a specific day, have your timing great, have a fantastic big value offering, and then the whole thing works together. So just tying it to a specific day alone is not going to help that much.
Exactly.
All right. Then our timing. I think what was important here is, with all things digital marketing, you can never just barge into a building or barge into a room and say, okay, here we are, you've got to buy something from us now. So in thinking about this specific campaign, so we made the offers available the Saturday morning at 8 a.m. But the week before was the whole campaign build up saying, sign up, sign up, sign up. You'll get an email in your inbox, and then we're going to go live on Saturday. So for a week, we've been building this specific campaign. It's going to go live and enticing people and reminding them about it for a whole week. So creating that build up. You'll also see here, there's a countdown timer. It was a story on Instagram, which was also, which showed the days and the hours counting down. So creating that sense of urgency, it's going to happen, it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And then on Saturday, it happened. So the week before, a lead campaign that entices people to sign up. And then also the other thing, what do you do? Okay, so it's Saturday morning, the week before, and then even the month before that, we did a lot of brand engagement and brand awareness, just sharing content about the lodge. Apologies, I'm just getting my lights on again. So for the engagement and awareness for a month in advance, that would just typically be creating beautiful content and helping people out there to dream about your establishment. So here we would have posted about the exterior of the lodge, maybe the activities and the game drives you could go on in the middle. On the right-hand side, the interior of the lodge and the fantastic view you'll have of the deck over this fantastic mountain ranges. So definitely just bringing stuff into people's minds, building that dreaming and a sense of, oh, I want to go, and longing, without pushing them to do anything about it. Really just getting engagement and building that likes and awareness the month before. Then obviously enticing copy is very important, and that's why we have professional copywriters on the team, just to round it off, make it sound amazing. It goes very far if you have amazing photos like these ones we're featuring here, and you can combine that with somebody that just know how to say it and make it sound like it's the best thing in the whole world, and tying them together. We also found that emojis work very well. You'll see here on the screen, we had little dads as the bullet points in the top part. So adding something like that just adds creativity, shows you're a bit more invested, adds some flair to it, brings a bit of emotion into the whole system. So we would advise to use that. Then once again, the urgency, like it's going to be Father's Day soon. You've got to come on board. Don't miss out on this, the urgency in the copy. And very important, then a clear call to action. People most of the time do what you help them to do. So if you invite them to click here and view the offer on our website, or click here and sign up to the offer, you have to really guide your consumer out there to do what you want them to do. The same thing then with video. What we found is video by far outperforms any kind of content on social media. What they call a through play view on social media is anybody that engaged with your video for 10 seconds. And if you think about it, 10 seconds is actually a very long time to have anybody interested in your brand. So if you've got a photo in the timeline and people scroll by, you might have 1, 2, 3, 4 seconds. But if you have a video, then it starts playing, and it draws their attention to the side for a while. They at least watch your video for 10 seconds and hopefully then for longer. So we definitely recommend, if you want to use video, it's by far the best thing you can do. There are tools, a lot of free tools you can use. Even Facebook has got its own built-in creative studio now, that you can just put in still images, add music, and create something in a very easy way with basic skills, especially if you have good quality images. But for this case, we created it with outsourced software of ours. Jonte created it, and we've asked Adi to create captions for all of the different slides, and we built this little story. So these videos, we created quite a few for them, for the different lodgings on the reserve, and that helped quite a lot. With a 3,000 Rand budget for engagement, we would usually get maybe 20,000 interactions just with still images, but videos like these make it go over 80,000 engagements and interactions. So if we can recommend, and you're doing a campaign like this, by far the best thing we can recommend is to create a video in your build-up to the campaign. The same one, this is the second video, just at one of the bigger lodge, which is the main lodge. Same story, we created copy and then a video. The same thing, these are a few of our favorite screenshots in that video, but you create a little story, and it all builds up and pulls your potential customer into your world. So then after you've shown the video, we have a lead sign up post on social media. And Jonte, if you can maybe take us through the emailer that guests then receive, just maybe to help our viewers or everybody on the webinar today understand, this whole thing happens on social media. So a lead generation post gets published on social media. The button says sign up now. Your viewer signs up with their name, surname, and email address, and then they get this mailer in their inbox via MailChimp or whichever. Yeah.
So yeah, I just saw a question as well with regarding to how many people get the mail and so on. So as Azan mentioned, we had a lead campaign for Mother's Day as well, where roughly between 600 and 750 people signed up for that campaign. And that was already just added to the existing database of over 1,000 from previous campaigns. So in one, and MailChimp is free, and you can have up to 2,000 people in your database. However, we just recommend stopping at 1,800 and rather creating a new one for safety. So we did this, we created the second database on a new MailChimp account where we could add these new leads that came in. And there was also about 700 people who signed up. So this email went out to the original 1,800 from the first database. And then as people signed up, as Azan mentioned, they were getting this email. So this contributes very much to the enticing copy. But Azan, you can go to the second slide. That what is important with, just press or click, is that your email gives clear information, especially on what are they going to be paying for, what is included, and this is done through italics, centering, using big, bold, capital letters, and then as you'll go on, you'll see that we had for each of the two houses, for Manor House and Nyala House, you could clearly see it was a pay one and the stay option with all at the same amount. I just quickly worked out for the Manor House, it worked out roughly to 190 Rand per person per night, which is a ridiculous offer. But then clicking on those buttons, it would take you directly to the web page where that offer is explained thoroughly. And then again in your mail, just highly recommend that if there's any important T's and C's, that they are in there, and use bold or capital letters just to emphasize certain aspects of those sentences, and then also just have consistency throughout your social media and on your website.
Right, thanks, Jante. Yeah, and just a few highlights we had there. Yeah, so actually, if you just want to quickly walk us through the user experience, what people then experienced on the website.
Sure. So your website needs to be very clean and easy to navigate through. As you can see, Mount High is there. Very nice, you're most welcome. It's easy navigations. You can see where you need to book. And as you can see on the mobile site, they need to look the same. If the user finds you on social media on their phone and decides they want to book on their desktop, they need to be familiar with the website. They can't jump from a different sort of user platform to another one. So that's important for your website. Another important aspect of your user experience is how are they going to pay. So normally most tourism or lodges in South Africa use Knightsbridge, but this is a voucher. So you need to make sure that it's easy for them to pay for it. So we help the client set up their PayFast account, and literally the guest clicks on book, pay now or buy now, and this page comes up. They can choose which option they want to pay by. And yeah, just immediately pay, which it's less frustrating. You want to buy the voucher, you want to buy it now. So it's important to make sure all your links work, that your payment links especially are working efficiently.
Yeah, and I think what was important here actually is there's also an option just to have a general PayFast link on your site, but then the guests got to fill in the amount themselves. And that's not great if you have different offers, or just for a general sense of trust and making sure that everything flows smoothly. So in this case, PayFast helped us to set up exact links. So the Manor House can only be 9,300 Rand, and you can only pay that. Or if you buy the other house, Nyala House, that is 5,500 Rand, and it's the only amount. So I think that's important to help the user also through that experience. There are also obviously other options like PayPal and PaySapal. So PayFast is predominantly in South Africa. Quicket is another option to go. So in that instance, also the amount would already be established there, so it makes the user experience very smooth. And obviously Quicket, well trusted, definitely a good way to go if for a voucher campaign. And then the community experience, Ashley, any info there?
So it's very important to build up trust and just a sense that there's someone on the other side that's not a robot, that's a person that you can engage with and build loyalty with your followers. So we continuously monitor our clients' social media accounts and respond to inquiries or questions. And a really important thing here was the voucher campaign was initially limited to about 6 vouchers, and they sold out within, correct me if I'm wrong, Jonte, about
8 minutes.
8 minutes.
8 minutes
Yeah.
was 7 vouchers.
Yeah.
It was insane. So what happened is we put out a post saying sold out, but there were still some people in the payment channel that were getting ready to pay. And so the client said, no, it's okay, you can extend this offer for a few more minutes. And what people then ended up noticing is that, hey, I've bought a voucher, you've bought a voucher, more than 6 of us have bought a voucher. And so it's really important that you as the large step in there, and we just had a really nice reply there to say, thank you everyone for purchasing this voucher. We really didn't expect it to do this well, and we're so happy with the wonderful response. We've decided to extend the campaign and looking forward to welcoming you to Mount High.
Yeah.
This also just creates an element of trust, and that this is a real campaign. It's not a scam or anything. It just puts you as the buyer in a sort of like relieved and like assured state of note.
Yeah, because you don't want to feel like you just bought this amazing thing and the next moment they tell you, sorry, you can't have it anymore. That would have been horrible. So that worked well. So then targeting, I did touch on this a bit earlier, but I think important just to touch on it again. You can have the best copy, the best video, the most enticing campaigns and images, and actually a voucher, do it on the right time on a Saturday morning. But your engagement, your targeting is so important. And there are so many ways to miss this. So in our opinion, digital marketing and social media and everything you do online actually is about your targeting. And there are so many fantastic ways that Facebook and Instagram specifically have created systems and layers that you can really find that ideal target market when you're setting up your campaign. So for this specific client, we only focused on reaching people in the Gauteng and Mpumalanga areas. It's no use targeting people in Cape Town at this moment. They can't even reach them there. At that time, interprovincial travel wasn't open, just like it is now. So no point in targeting people in South Africa. It's so big. So in the first place, your location is very important. But then also finding the right people in the right mindset. So what are their interests and what are their online behaviors? Do they merely browse, or are there actually people that click through and go to people's websites? And are there actually people that do buy online? Because a lot of people are just sitting out there using social media as entertainment and liking beautiful pictures about beautiful lodges, but they never travel. So what's the point of reaching people like that? So setting all of this up is very important at the start of your campaign, so that in the first instance, you target the right fish in the right pond. And then obviously, if you started out right in the beginning, if I could just go back one step maybe, what we also used for this campaign is this client has got a proper big database already, consisting of people already visited her lodge. So that would be existing clients or previous clients, as well as people in her database that we've built up over time with lead campaigns like this. So these people, especially the previous guest list of people who already stayed at her lodge, obviously represent the ideal target market. These people already paid to go stay there. They are the people who reviewed, who are sharing word of mouth, and they are the perfect target market. So the tool we often use on social media is importing the details from these existing customers or existing guests or previous guests, and not retargeting them because they've been there already. Using this data and asking Facebook to find people with similar behaviors online. So they would be people with similar social media profiles. They would be in similar geographic locations. They would show interest in similar interest areas, and they'll have similar behaviors. So then with this exact perfect targeting, we increase the amount of people with that same behavior right at the start of the campaign, which already makes the chances of success so much better. And then after you've created this big pool of consumers at the top, you then start retargeting. All right, so now we showed these beautiful videos to everybody that looks like our existing database and our existing customers. And then we start sharing them to the website. We track them when they've been on the website. They keep browsing, and we keep following up with them until that week before the launch of the campaign. And then we ask them to sign up. So in that way, you've really guided them down the funnel until a week before the campaign. And then you've got your exact right potential client when it's necessary. The budget and duration is very important. We found with a lead campaign, you need at least 200 Rand a day at a minimum to make an impact. Obviously, the bigger your budget, the bigger the amount of people that you can reach. For a lead campaign, probably a week is good enough to create a sense of urgency and keep people in the loop. 2 weeks is also good, leading up to a big launch. But we won't go longer than that, it loses momentum. And typically for a lead campaign, we would say the ad cost you have to spend on that, not less than 4,000 Rand, maybe 3,000, but 4 is a good solid place to find yourself. Obviously, if you can double that, better. If you can only spare 3,000, you will get somewhere at least. Yeah, just summary of the results then. Jonte, if you want to take us through that.
Yeah, so as Lazan mentioned at the start, we had a great success. So I think the important thing to just mention is that we did speak to the client beforehand saying that this was most likely going to happen, and just discussing through what are the options for if there's more than 6 vouchers. And as Lazan mentioned, we utilized the low season. So 47 vouchers were sold. That's between the Manor House and Nyala House. And since then, after those vouchers weren't live anymore, the 40 and 50% vouchers also started selling. So this just shows what Lazan was referring to now, that people were interested, they went through the buyer cycle, they were on the website, and then unfortunately missed the vouchers, or perhaps they have one and they wanted a longer stay, so then they got another voucher as well. But this all has contributed to over more than 500,000 Rand in income, which it's fantastic news for the client, and it just shows that a great value and a great campaign can bring great success. But the important metrics that we want to focus on is also that the database grew with 735 new leads. It's as Azan mentioned, people we can target later on, send more special offers, keep updated with what's happening at the establishment, and then during this whole campaign, the Instagram following grew with 423, which is amazing. And I think the landing page views was the first realization that this could be a great success story, because it was just in one day leading up to that 8 o'clock on the Saturday morning, over 900 people was on our landing page looking at our website. And then the rest of the metrics, what Lazan referred to earlier, was just the video 10-second views. And as over 9,000 people looked through the videos, we saw that even if we just retargeted those 9,000, it would have contributed largely to these results as well.
Mm. Yeah, thank you, Jante. I think also worth mentioning here is now that we've sold all these vouchers for the client, there's obviously a big opportunity now to start also selling meals to these people that would be coming and staying for a whole week. So other ways to add to the income, possibly also showcasing the event venue that they have there. Maybe if somebody wanted to celebrate the birthday or anniversary, as the lodges have to sleep 10 or to 12 people anyway. So lots of ways to now make up for the fact that you had to give 70% discount, and you can now complement that with other vouchers or selling meals, etc. So I think that's it for the actual campaign from our side. Anna, anything specific from your side at this moment before we open the floor for questions or discussions?
No, thank you, Lizanne. This is a fantastic example. I think, you know, it's so important just for the layperson to understand all the variables at play. I do have just a couple of questions. So obviously you had said that, you know, you need about a week or 2 weeks for the lead generation campaign, but that's based off of a database. Now, what would you say be the kind of like minimum database that you could work with for a lead generation campaign?
So a database, the amount of leads you would like to sign up for a campaign to work.
Yes. So like just typically, like you've mentioned, for this business, you had the Mother's Day campaign that already gave you a good solid place to start from for the Father's Day campaign.
Yeah.
But so just for our businesses, if they look at, you know, what is their typical Instagram or Facebook following, what is their mailing list, to just get an idea of what their potential could be for a voucher campaign, starting from where they are.
Okay. So I think in this case, in one campaign, if you have an ad budget of 4,000 Rand and you go through all these steps that we said, a week of lead marketing and a month of engagement before that, you can hope for between 400 and 800 new leads to sign up. So your email database on something like MailChimp would probably grow with 400 to 800 new leads. So that you can kind of, you can count on new leads for that amount. But then whatever you have before that, your whole database can just be sent this new offer as well. So in this client's case, she had 800 signups for the Father's Day campaign and 800 for the Mother's Day campaign. So the database was already at 800. They just got the new mailer anyway, plus the 800 people that signed up for the Father's campaign. So in total, 1,600 people received the mail. Am I correct here with numbers, Jante? It's somewhere in that area.
The database was 1,008, yeah.
Okay, yeah, so close to that. But also, so if the client had an existing database of 10,000 people that they've engaged with over the previous 10 or 20 years, then obviously you can send this campaign to your whole database as well. So the bigger your database, the bigger your chances of success, obviously. But there's also something nice about a fresh campaign and somebody that signed up just now for this specific campaign and being very interested. So I think that's about the numbers that you're working with.
Lizanne, I see a question here, and I've also tried to be thinking now, but so other than building the email distribution list through social media and MailChimp, what else could be happening or should be happening if someone's perhaps located in Cape Town or Gauteng? What else could they be doing?
I'm just quickly looking at the question as well.
So that's Kevin, that's from Point B Guest House.
All right.
It's certified.
Kevin, if you could just maybe explain a little bit more, do you mean what should be happening if you wanted to sell vouchers? Or what else can you be doing right now while we're in semi-lockdown and not able to accept bookings. Is this specifically for vouchers or just in general? What else can you do? All right. Yeah, I think that is actually the most important thing. It's much harder after you've disappeared to come back rather than just staying in there. Like, I think at this point, the worst thing that you can possibly do is just stop. Stop your branding, stop your social media presence, stop being out there, stop filtering into people's minds. So social media is going to be your most important thing. I think also don't stop putting ad budget behind your content, because really organic content is not going to take you very far at all. You need to keep spreading the word and just stay fresh in people's minds, because the moment the lockdown lifts or the moment people can travel, they will. And probably some people are going to try to travel now anyway, or find a way to manage their papers and do it as business travelers anyway. So you want to be clear that at least you are open and accepting business travelers. I think your messaging should very much focus on the fact that you are open, even if only for business travelers, and putting that out there. Because I think there's definitely a hesitance among consumers who actually made it, who closed down, which companies made it and who didn't. So be very clear, especially on your website and on your social media, that we are open, we are accepting business travelers. So, you know, reach out and contact us. So I would say, yes, messaging on your website is very important. Messaging on social media, keep telling people that you are open and we're taking strain, but we're missing everybody and hope to welcome you back. Build that database as much as you can. If you can do lead campaigns, you can retarget to all these people forever. And another very important thing is, if you don't have the Facebook pixel on your website yet, it's a very important thing to do at this moment. Make sure you at least just implement the Facebook pixel on your site. What that will help you to do in future is, even now, if people can't book and they are landing on your website, you're driving them there from social media, or they landing there organically, everybody that visits your website is then tracked. And if you've got your Facebook pixel on there, Facebook knows who's been on your website. So at least while you can't accept bookings or while you can't do a lot, your data is building up, and everybody that's been on your website for all of these months, you can then retarget them with a campaign on Facebook.
Lizanne,
Yeah?
I've got another question. A big issue for fair trading conceptualizing what is, you know, still hopefully forthcoming, the campaign that we wanted to do on behalf of our clients. A big issue for us was the validity of the voucher. How long must that voucher be valid for? Given the ethical question, of course, that, you know, a customer might buy the voucher now, but only, you know, obviously for travel reasons and lockdown reasons, only be able to redeem it next year.
Yeah.
But what, in this case, what was the validity for your voucher?
John, just help me, but I think it's valid till end of December 2021. Is that correct?
So for, when we sat down and spoke to our client, we looked at the amount of weeks that's possibly available. So this voucher campaign, we said, is available till the 31st of July 2021. However, after discussing it and with the increase in travel restrictions and so on, we've extended that validity, but they've all been contacted individually and updated on the process. And the other vouchers as well, they are extended till December 2021, so the 40 and the 50%, which are still able to be purchased. But yeah, I understand completely with the restrictions currently, it does make it hard to select a date, but also being able to extend it, I think, shows a lot to consumers that, okay, I can trust this brand. Or it just, we had a very great, like if I can call it a PR success, because people are now investing more in the brand. The the website engagements continue going up, the social media has been going up, so everything falls in line.
I think very important here, Anna, is flexibility. Like everybody feels unsure, the consumer feels unsure, the establishments feel unsure, and there's got to be a sense of, we will meet you where you are. We'll make it available till end of, December 2021, because people aren't sure if they're going to be able to travel. Will I put my money into something now, and then it will be like valid for 2 months, and then the lockdown didn't even lift by the time it's not valid anymore. So I think important here, the idea is not to chase as much as possible profit. I think the idea really is cash flow and pulling through during tremendously difficult time. So I think also to just, I think most people are there at this moment already anyway, but to remember to be lenient and flexible and make this thing work, just to pull through and not trying to achieve a big profit, but just really trying to get cash flow in and keep going for a while longer and pay your staff for another few months until things are looking better again. Any other questions?
Questions or comments?
Or comments?
I think I would also like to just highlight that I do think a great contributor to the success of this campaign was the discount, and the fact that it was a substantial discount. You know, to catch, you know, people definitely would set up a notice at 80% discount, 75 to 80% discount, even from, you know, from 50% upwards. Yeah. So I think this is critical, and that's also where the focus should be on generating cash flow, as opposed to, you know, profit and, you know, being concerned about, you know, if you lower your prices now, as a business, you might be kind of caught at that price for the next season. I mean, I think the objective is to reach the next season, because we did have a lot of feedback from clients saying that they cannot afford to either give that big of a discount, but also they can't slash their prices that much because they, you know, they don't want to kind of lose their positioning, that pricing and, you know, that positioning that they have in the market through campaigns like this. I think there are businesses that feel somewhat insecure about doing that.
Yeah, and it's understandable, and there's definitely logic behind that as well. And I do appreciate and understand that reasoning, and there is validity to it. And we found amongst our own clients also differing opinions about it. So it's one way to look at it and kind of stand your ground and say no more than 30 or 35% discount, and staying in that the positioning and market segment. But also I think this brand is a very upmarket luxury lodge, and for them it wasn't an issue. So it might work for some people just in their whole marketing strategy, the way where they are in their own mindset and where they are with regarding to their brand. But in this case, it was not a big concern for the client. She was more concerned about selling a lot of vouchers and getting cash flow in, and then we go again. And I think it's actually a great case study of it boosting her brand immensely. I think just as Jante said now, so in the beginning, a 40% discount didn't get results for her. But now the major hoo-ha about these big discounts and the fantastic excitement and fun around the campaign of we're getting such a fantastic deal. It's such an amazing lodge, and we're going to have the best time as a family or a group of friends, and the hype around it ended. It was there, the emotion stayed, and the offer ended. And after that, we sold another 20 vouchers at the 40 and 50% discount. And now, obviously, that is also going to end soon, but she's going to keep this big, engaged consumer base of people excited about the brand for all time going forward. and now launching new fantastic culinary experiences and getting chefs in. And so for awareness and brand awareness, this was a fantastic campaign. And I think for the times we're in right now, there's something to be said for people digging in and doing whatever is necessary to make it work. And I think the consumers out there are also in that kind of space. Like, we know you're a fantastic place. We also feel for you that government is locking down travel and prohibiting it. And there's such a big outcry out there for what are people supposed to do? Like, so I think there's a general sense of let's reach out, let's support these places. It's a fantastic brand. It's not supposed to diminish the brand. The fact that we're doing whatever is necessary to save jobs, save our staff, and there's a nice solidarity around it. I think the way you position it should definitely not be, oh, we're desperate, we'll sell it at any price you're willing to pay. That's not what's happening at all. It's a big, fantastic, fun thing. We are going to do what we can, and we're going to give you a great voucher, great offer. It's never going to be repeated. But it's the only thing we can do now, so let's just do what we can. So I think that's kind of the idea around it.
Zon, can I possibly just share an idea that we discussed earlier?
Yeah, go for it.
Listening that perhaps thinking, okay, I can't ultimately offer such discounts, or selling too many of these will influence my establishment's income for some time. Another thing, just to boost engagement and to get people to become aware of your establishment, is to have a 50 or 40 or 30% discount, but run a competition alongside it, saying that so maybe a tip for anyone, on the 27th of September is World Tourism Day. That's a date you can monetize or utilize, to run a competition and say, on that day, someone who has purchased the voucher will be refunded in full, or your stay will be doubled and you'll get an extra few bed nights, or you can bring 2 more people. Something like that could immensely contribute to your PR, but also just get a lot of people that, as Zon mentioned, a lot of people are now going to be able to experience Mount High that perhaps would never have gone there. And they're going to bring people and share this word of mouth. And we all know that word of mouth in any industry is the most powerful form of marketing. Yeah,
that's a great idea, John. There's so many ways to do a campaign. And as you said, doing it kind of as a build-up, saying, okay, we're going to sell vouchers now, maybe not on one day, but we're going to sell vouchers for a week. And on World Tourism Day, we're going to announce that somebody is getting their whole trip for free. Or if you booked a 3-night trip, we're going to double it and you'll get a 6-night trip for the same rate. So I agree with that. There's a nice way to create build-up, even for a longer period. That might be a great idea.
Oh. Yeah, sounds great. Is there any other questions?
I don't see any questions now.
Well, then I think I'm going to thank Eco Africa Digital again for, this is such a valuable, it was such a valuable session, because I do think, we saw so many voucher campaigns in the market when lockdown started, and there has been obviously some stories of success, but I don't think I've seen an integrated story of success like this, where you see the funnel working and you see, all of the benefits capitalized on, like the building your database, like the community aspect around it, and to ensure that this is a market captured for future. So that although, you might be sacrificing on, giving a big discount, as a business, that you do see, the return of investment in the way that you've managed your campaign through this process that you've illustrated here. So I think it's incredibly valuable. So thank you. Thanks for this.
It's a pleasure, Anna. And thank you very much for sharing the platform and the network. It's great for us to be able to share with you guys and just be part of the community. It's such a tough time, and And I think all of us, every now and then, the wind just goes out of our sails, like, what next? And everybody's trying their best, their utmost, and keeping at it. And just when you think you've had a few wins, then there are a few blows again. But ultimately, it can't last forever. And I think we just have to believe that whatever new little ways we find of operating and managing, and obviously the big river is cut off, big stones rolled into the flow, but it finds new little rivulets, and it's just got to find a new way of operating. Nothing can stay broken forever, and I'm sure the industry will be resilient in the end and bounce back in some way. And maybe along the way we learn a few things and a few new ways of doing stuff. And just good luck to everybody out there.